My spooky friends, the time has come. The day has arrived where I will finally discuss Onion Boy. In the whole 2 months that my channel has existed, I have not yet spoken about Onision, but now is the time to talk about YouTube's most infamous villain, about the most narcissistic man to ever live. Gregory Onision Jackson. So I think it's pretty common knowledge to anyone who is invested in the world of YouTube drama that for the majority of 2018, Onision has literally been slandering Shane Dawson by accusing him of being a pedophile without any solid evidence. Today, we'll be talking about this and the fact that it's immoral, but more importantly, we'll also be talking about the fact that everything Onision has been doing is illegal, which is funny because Onision is the person who constantly talks about how important it is to follow the law. So important, in fact, that he will oftentimes ignore morals that he probably doesn't have anyway in favor of the law. But we'll talk about that later. In order to understand this piping hot tea, I first want to give a quick rundown of Shane and Onision's relationship. Eight years ago, Shane Dawson flaked on Onision for one reason or another when they had plans, which he apologized for, and Onision just cannot let go of that. That's why, for a long time now, he's been obsessed with Shane Dawson. He's made countless videos on him, none of which are particularly nice. He's made fun of Shane's weight on multiple occasions. Despite being fully aware of his weight-related body image issues, he's made videos mocking him in general, and most importantly, he's been making very serious false accusations towards him. Earlier this year, for those of you who somehow don't remember, a channel called Pop Blast claimed Shane Dawson was a pedophile and presented very poor evidence for their claim. They eventually got so much backlash that they took the video down and eventually their entire channel disappeared. But while most people were defending Shane from this unwarranted attack, Onision was siding with Pop Blast. Much like Pop Blast, Onision started making accusations with no proof to back them up. I do just want to make it clear that Shane Dawson has made it clear that he believes the video made by Pop Blast was a parody.
Yeah.
Dang, right.
I think what happened was, I think it was a parody. I think the person who made it liked my conspiracy videos and they're like, ooh, I'm gonna like make one about Shane. That's
Okay.
clearly a joke. And then because it went too far and somebody cut it up even more and put it on Twitter, they took out the jokey parts. And I think that person was like, oh no, okay, how do I make it obvious that this was fake? So then they started putting out these weird like clues and then the Logan Paul email and then their channel got deleted. So
Oh, that sucks for them if it was just like meant to be.
I think it was because it was so stupid.
Right.
Their evidence of me fucking my boyfriend who has a baby face, that's
Yeah.
so
I
funny and
couldn't believe
stupid.
that one.
Yeah.
That's so crazy that I'm like, and there was scary music under it, so I think it was a joke that went too far. And then the news, because they
Poor
were
son of a bitch was trying to make like a homage to you in a way.
maybe.
But why wouldn't they put parody in the title once it got like out of hand?
That's
I don't know. I can't think of the alternative because it's like, well, if it was some person that was trying to ruin my life, they wouldn't have put the baby face stuff in there. You know what I mean? So who was it? And it was well edited. So are they
So
looking for a
weird.
job? Because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hiring.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
But it's obvious to everyone, including Shane Dawson, that Onision is not joking. So this has been going on for about 6 months now, and there are so many videos about this situation on YouTube that I would just be regurgitating every word of every other video made if I went into detail. So I'll link some videos you can watch in the description below if you need to catch up, but I think that this is something most people already know about. Anyway, you might be wondering, why am I talking about this 6 months after the drama started? Why do I care this late into the game? Well, here's why. Because Shane is finally threatening legal action, and it seems like everyone wants him to go through with it. Shane is such a nice guy that he has held back on suing Onision for 6 months, but then this happened.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
the emails. So Onision was stupid enough to post private emails between him and Shane on Twitter. He apparently thinks that these are incriminating evidence when in reality they're actually literally the exact opposite. They only make Shane look better. But anyway, let's take a look at them. Greg initiated the conversation when he emailed Shane Dawson asking him, quote, "Why did you describe a girl under 10 as sexy repeatedly in a serious tone and use the defense that you promoted her as if that justified it?" Onision has not, to my knowledge, shown any proof that Shane defended his joke by saying he gave the girl publicity. And when I did my own research, I could not find any proof of that either. Shane did, however, apologize for the, quote, shitty jokes he made in the past, and I will insert that video clip here.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apologize first. I am sorry that I used to make really shitty fucking jokes. I am sorry that I was so fucking, like, insecure and, like, playing this character of this guy who's like crazy and will say anything and like tries to make people laugh by shocking them. That was my thing. That was what I did on YouTube. A lot of people now don't know that. If you started watching my videos more recently, you might not know that. But back in the day, from 2008 to 2012-ish, maybe 2013, that was my thing. I thought it was so... I loved the feeling of making somebody shocked and laugh because they couldn't believe what was coming out of my mouth. I wasn't confident enough to make smarter jokes. I was making the easy jokes. I was playing crazy stereotypical characters. I was doing shit that was racially insensitive. I was doing shit that was homophobic. I was doing shit that could be considered fat shaming. I was doing some fucked up like comedy stuff that I'm not proud of.
Shane then replies, "Dude, I'm not a pedophile. Leave me alone." Pretty normal response to somebody who is continuously harassing you and has been doing so for half a year now. Then why did you describe that young girl as sexy in a serious voice and only use the defense as you having promoted her as if that made it okay? No one who is not a pedophile does that. He asks the same question, once again not providing any proof that he said that. "I'm not a pedophile. Leave me alone. This is your last warning, man. I've been so calm about you harassing me, but there's only so much I can take. Between the videos, tweets, and emails, I can take legal action, but I don't want to because I don't want to affect Lainey and your children. I just don't want drama. Please leave me alone and stop emailing me. I know all you want is content for your videos. That's what this is about. You know I'm not a fucking pedophile. That's insane." And then Shane finally threatens legal action. Firstly, the fact that he says he doesn't want to sue him for the sake of his wife and kids is extremely nice, considering anyone else would have probably sued Onision for everything he has by now. Secondly, these emails are only giving Shane more proof if he does sue you that you are slandering him and harassing him. Onision then responds with, "Putting you in my videos, your fangirls rip me apart. So no, this is not about making a video about you. This is about the fact that I have asked you twice and you still have not explained to me why you described a girl of about 8 years old as sexy repeatedly in a serious tone. You implying you could sue me? That does not answer the question. The fact that his fans rip you apart doesn't mean shit because we all know that you don't use him to be liked. You use him for publicity. Your videos on him get you attention. And I know I'm contributing to that, but fuck it, I want to talk about this. What you're doing is basically an all publicity is good publicity type thing. Realistically speaking, do you really think anyone would be talking about you if you didn't continuously make videos about Shane? Your channel is dying, Greg, and you are killing it. Look at your social blade. You may have 2 million subscribers, but there are millions more people who despise you because you're a terrible person who feels no shame about trying to bring other people down for petty bullshit. Oh please, you're the king of using me for views. I don't need to explain myself to you of all people. Leave me alone, which he's right about, by the way. It's a very clear, simple question. You want me to leave you alone? Why not just answer it so we can both be at peace? Then Shane responds, "I was clearly kidding, Greg. You fucking know that. Why the fuck would I think a little kid is sexy? That's fucking stupid and gross. And I'm sick of hearing about this shit. So move on to your next drama, because this one is ridiculous and tired. You repeatedly said it in a serious tone, and your only defense was that you promoted her so you did not know why people were mad. That made me think of the following headline, a real headline that sounds just like you. Subway's Jared Fogle told a journalist middle school girls are hot lot off camera. Report. Next question. Why did you say you Googled baby porn? Then describe the results of your baby porn search if you did not actually Google baby porn. First of all, what the fuck? As for the baby porn thing, once again, it was a stupid joke that he apologized for because he has grown as a person and he knows it was stupid. Not to mention, in the unedited clip, he actually says this.
To Google and I'm like, oh god, I want to see.
You're gonna get arrested.
I know, but I didn't want to see child porn. But I just wanted to see, like, okay, let me pretend like I'm a pedophile for a sec.
Okay, by the way, just for the record, police, I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know this. Like, you can literally get arrested for saying
I know.
this.
Let me finish. Sorry. So I typed in naked baby. First of all, I don't understand why anybody would be turned on by that. But
that's the first good thing you said.
But they were sexy. I'm kidding. Okay, back to the Instagram. So I look at this.
I'm done replying to you. It's sad and makes me sad for you. You are better than this. Instead of baiting me for video content, just go make something you are proud of. You are better than this. Bye, Greg. Shane is being so nice to you. He could have told you to fuck off by now. Told you that you're a garbage human being and that he fucking hates you. But he didn't. Instead, he calmly said that he won't respond anymore and that he thinks you're better than that. Come on, Greg. Again, videos about you do very poorly on my channel. It only damages my channel. I literally got a community strike for sharing emails you wrote me before. So again, no advantage or attempt to gain monetary gain from this. Now, you called me your friend once, aloud, right in front of me. You said we were friends. This is a former friend asking questions that you are now refusing to answer. It does not help me find peace. It does not help you find peace to distract from the issue and refuse to answer the questions. Oh, Onision, you have to be really fucking stupid to think that Shane still sees you even remotely as a friend. You belittled him for his weight multiple times despite knowing his mental problems associated with it. You have harassed him for years now, and now you've been making defamatory claims about him for 6 months. Don't bring up this former friend bullshit. And then Shane stops answering. So now, let's talk about legality. Onision has been very open about the fact that he is very strict about the law. He's the person who sees people who smoke weed as junkies and belittles people who smoke weed because it's not legal in all states. Without taking into consideration the large amount of people who use it for medicinal purposes. Greg, there are over 2 million people in America who use marijuana for medicinal purposes. But you're better than those people, right? You're superior because you don't need to take anything to help deal with a chronic illness. That doesn't sound bad to you at all? Anyway, that's not the point. He's also the guy who announced he was dating his girlfriend, and now wife, Lainey, publicly when she was 17 and he was 26. In his eyes, that's okay, because the legal age of consent in Washington is 16. Onision doesn't care about morals, only the law, and he's made that clear on multiple occasions. So, it's funny to see the man who cares so much about the law break the law multiple times when it doesn't fit his agenda. So now let's take a look at the laws he's broken, shall we? By sharing these emails, Onision is committing a crime. Both Washington, where Onision lives, and California, where Shane lives, are two-party consent states. So what does that mean? Well, it's simple. In two-party consent states, the law says that you must have consent from all parties before recording a phone call or conversation through other means like email. This law also applies to sharing that conversation. Washington law states that in Washington, you can satisfy the consent requirement by announcing to all other parties engaged in the communication or conversation in any reasonably effective manner that such communication or conversation is about to be recorded or transmitted, so long as this announcement is also recorded. If you're an Onision fan, you might be saying, oh, well, Onision didn't record it, it was an email. Well, Washington state law also says that person sending email consented to its recording because he had to understand that computers are, among other things, a message recording device and that his email messages would be recorded on the computer of the person to whom the message was sent. So, in Washington, where Onision lives, he broke the law. California law states that if you are operating operating in California, you should always get the consent of all parties before recording any conversation that common sense tells you might be private or confidential. In addition to subjecting you to criminal prosecution, violating the California wiretapping law can expose you to a civil lawsuit for damages by an injured party. This means that regardless of which state the lawsuit is in, Onision can and probably will be charged with wiretapping. In California, it can also be argued that Onision was denying Shane the right to privacy by sharing emails that Shane believed were private. There is no proof to suggest Shane gave permission for those emails to be shared, so that's just one of the charges Onision could face. Defamation falls under two categories, libel and slander, and Onision has done both of these. Libel is written defamation, which he's done through the emails as well as the tweets he's made about Shane. Slander is spoken defamation, which he's done through his videos and live streams. Quote, "The crux of a defamation claim is falsity. Truthful statements that harm another's reputation will not create liability for defamation, although they may open you up to other forms of liability if the information you publish is of a personal or highly private nature." Onision somehow believes that he has proof, but his proof would never stand up in a court of law. He can't prove Shane used publicity as an excuse for his joke, and he can't use Shane's jokes as proof because he has no way to prove that they weren't jokes. There are no rape or assault accusations of any kind against Shane, and there never have been, and the videos he's made with kids were not of a sexual nature and were done in the presence of the parent of the child. The videos he did do in the past with kids could be considered by some people sexual in nature, but that's only because he had kids make sexual jokes. For instance, Greg could bring up the Maury parody Shane made a long time ago, where he had a kid play an out-of-control teen and where the kid said some sexual things.
My favorite flavor of popsicle is dick. Michael Jackson didn't molest me, I molested his fine ass. I named my pussy Rihanna because she loves to get beat up. Wow. I never look both ways before crossing the street because I'm a bad bitch.
But having kids say inappropriate things as a joke isn't illegal, and that girl, to my knowledge, is Shane's cousin, and could defend him in court by clarifying that he never did anything to her and that it was only a joke. Shane also spoke about how the allegations did have an effect on his career when he was on the H3 podcast, and he can use that against Onision in court. Here's what the plaintiff, Shane, would have to prove in order to win the lawsuit. Number 1, the defendant published the statement. In other words, that the defendant uttered or distributed it to at least one person other than the plaintiff. You don't need to be a media mogul to be a publisher. There is no requirement that the statement be distributed broadly to a large group or even the general public. If you publish something on the internet, you can assume that this requirement has been met. This one can be easily proven. There are tons of tweets, videos, and the emails that clearly show that Greg did in fact make those allegations. 2, the statement is about the plaintiff. The statement need not name the person explicitly if there is enough identifying information that those who know the person will recognize the statement as being about him or her. Once again, very easy to prove because Greg is very open about the fact that he is talking about Shane.
And sit next to me and take a lie detector test as well. I'd love to see that bitch sweat. Because I personally know that Shane is a creep. I know he's a creep. On a core level, I know he's a creep. I've seen his history of how he acts with children, how close he gets to children all the time, how uncomfortable it is consistently. Like, I don't know how other people don't see it, but they're teenage girls, so of course they think it's fine.
3, the statement harmed the reputation of the plaintiff, as opposed to being merely insulting or offensive. Generally speaking, a defamatory statement is a false statement of fact that exposes a person to hatred, ridicule, or contempt, lowers him in the esteem of his peers, causes him to be shunned, or injures him in his business or trade. Once again, Shane Dawson pretty much said that this did happen to him after the accusations were made when he was on the H3 podcast.
So that was the confusing part. And I had people at the gym, like looking at me weird, and people at like Starbucks looking at me weird, and it was a thing. People thought I was a fucking pedophile because of Twitter news. But yeah, money wise, it fucked me up. I lost brand deals, and my certain things that were supposed to happen aren't happening anymore just because of that.
Dude, and even insane. Now that it's kind of like settled, you still have lost those connections.
Everybody says it's not why, like, oh no, it's other reasons, like, oh, this went away because of other things. And I'm like, really? Like, it happened 2 days after the pedophile thing, and then it just went away.
4. The statement was published with some level of fault. Fault requires that the defendant did something he should not have done or failed to do something he should have done. Depending on the circumstances, the plaintiff will either need to prove that the defendant acted negligently if the plaintiff is a private figure, or with actual malice if the plaintiff is a public figure or official. You can argue that Greg was negligent in claiming Shane made excuses that there is no evidence of him making. I also personally think, and I admit that this may be wrong because I do not have a background in law, but I personally think that Greg's history with Shane, the event that happened 8 years ago, which he still holds a grudge against him for, and the fact that he's spoken poorly of Shane ever since then on multiple occasions, could be used as reason to believe that Onision acted through malice. It's widely believed that Onision is jealous of Shane's success, and that's why he's making these claims. And if you look at the state of Onision's channel compared to Shane Dawson's channel now, it's not something that's out of the realm of possibility. 5. The statement was published without any applicable privilege. A number of privileges may be available depending on what the defendant published and the sources he relied on for the information. First, I want to explain what they mean by privileges. Privileges is a term that lawyers use that basically means a number of defenses. Let's go over some of these defenses. Substantial truth. Truth is an absolute defense to an action for defamation. There is obviously no substantial truth to Greg's claims. A joke is not evidence. Opinion and fair comment privileges. Statements of opinion generally cannot support a cause of action for defamation, even if they are outrageous or widely off the mark. A defense similar to opinion is fair comment on a matter of public interest. If the mayor is alleged to be involved in a corruption scandal, expressing your opinion that you believe the allegations are true is not likely to support a cause of action for defamation. If Greg had said, I think Shane might be a pedophile, then maybe this could apply. But he didn't. He has said multiple times that Shane is a danger to children and has stated it as fact, not as a belief, but as though it is 100% true. Fair report privilege. This very important privilege may apply if you relied on a public document or a statement by a public official for the incorrect information, made clear that the public document or statement was your source, and fairly and accurately used the source. Onision has not given any sources to credit his claims other than the clips of Shane making jokes that he has apologized for and that don't break any laws. Neutral reportage privilege. The neutral reportage privilege covers unverified accusations made by one public figure about another on a matter of legitimate public interest, such as when a politician who opposes a healthcare bill says that the bill's sponsor is taking money from the pharmaceutical industry. I can't say for sure this doesn't apply here because, as I mentioned, I don't have a background in law, I am not a lawyer, but I highly doubt that it does. Sure, maybe Onision is making these claims because of public interest, but it seems more likely that he's doing it out of jealousy. Wire service defense. If you republish information from a reputable news source such as the Associated Press, you may be entitled to the wire service defense if it turns out that the information was false. Once again, there are no reputable sources Greg can use to make this claim. Statute of Limitations. If the plaintiff has waited too long to file a lawsuit, the defamation claim might be barred by the Statute of Limitations, which sets the maximum amount of time plaintiffs can wait before bringing a lawsuit after the events they are suing over have occurred. This could actually happen, but if Shane files a lawsuit now or in the near future, there will not be a statute of limitation because this is an ongoing matter. Greg is still making false claims about Shane. So, based off of these rules, Onision would not stand a chance in court. It also states that in cases involving matters of purely private concern, in many states, the burden of proving truth is on the defendant, which means that Shane would not have to prove anything, and Greg, it would be entirely your job to provide all of the evidence in order to prove your innocence. According to the law, the communication in interstate commerce of threats to harm a person or property, to kidnap a person, or to damage a person's reputation is a violation of federal law pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 875. Because the internet is a means of interstate commerce, threats sent online may be federally prosecuted. So, Onision, Shane could also take you to court for cyber threats. Possibly. Shane could also say that you are cyber stalking him. Cyber stalking can include repeated unwanted solicited intrusive and frightening communications from the perpetrator by phone, mail, and or email, harassing the victim through the internet, and posting information or spreading rumors about the victim on the internet in a public place or by word of mouth. Stalking is described as a pattern of repeated and unwanted attention, harassment, contact, or any other course of conduct directed at a specific person that would cause a reasonable person to feel fear. Sure, Shane has never said he is scared, but I'm sure he's creeped out by your very evident obsession with him. So here are 3 different laws that Greg is breaking. Onision, if you're watching this, I would highly suggest you shut the fuck up while you still have a chance. Because if Shane takes you to court, you have absolutely no chance of winning. You do not have any substantial evidence to incriminate Shane, and the burden of proving innocence is entirely on you. If Shane sues you, he has no obligation to prove he is innocent. Not to mention the fact that over the past 6 months, you have been straight up handing him evidence that he can give to his lawyer any day now. You do realize that this lawsuit could ruin your life, right? Shane isn't suing you because you have a family and he knows he'll win. Considering the fact that you're so broke, you apparently felt the need to manipulate your 15-year-old fans into donating to your Patreon or you would kill yourself.
This is one of the worst days of my life because before I decided to do YouTube, I had a gun in my head and I was considering pulling the trigger. And now it's looking like the whole YouTube thing might be over. And fortunately, I have some money so I can survive a little while. But I don't know how long I can.
Yeah, we all remember that. And the fact that you got audited because you're a grown man who can't take 5 minutes to research how business expenses work.
Hey guys, I talked to the IRS today and a representative of taxaudit.com. And I got some really bad news. And the bad news is that there's certain tax laws that I did not know about. And one of these tax laws is telling you that you cannot deduct more than 1/29th of a business property acquisition each year. Wow. I wish anyone told me this.
You might want to do whatever you possibly can to keep Shane from pursuing legal action. Shane, if for some reason you're watching this, I, like many other people, think that you should sue. This man has been straight up harassing you for 6 months now, if not more. You said yourself those allegations affected you financially and made people see you differently, and he won't leave you alone. I know you're a nice guy, but you shouldn't have to put up with this shit because you want to be nice. If Onision doesn't give a shit about you and how you feel, why should you care when all he's been doing for years now is trying to bring you down? I'm not a lawyer, and I might have made some mistakes in this video, but I did do thorough research. And if a random girl on the internet can find this much information about the legality of Onision's actions, imagine how much an actual lawyer could find. Okay, I'm done now. If you like this video, you can leave a like and subscribe if you want, and follow me on Twitter at SpookyAsGhost. I also made a Tumblr where you can send me your suggestions, questions, whatever. I made it because I feel like it'll be much easier to keep track of on there since I constantly lose the comments that leave me suggestions on YouTube. Anyway, I'm the Spooky's Ghost. I'll see you guys next time.